بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والعاقبة للمتقين ولا عدوان إلا على الظالمين اللهم صل على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين ومن تمسك بسنته إلى يوم الدين ثم أما بعد ولله الحمد. We continue going over the explanation of Hadeeth Jibreel, which is the second hadith in Arba'in al-Nawawiyya, in the 40 hadith of Imam al-Nawawi rahimahullahu ta'ala. We had reached the portion of the hadith which deals with the belief in the malaika, the belief in the angels. And this is al-Rukn al-Thani. This is the second pillar from the pillars of Iman. From the pillars of Iman. Or as they translate it as the articles of faith. So this is the second article from the articles of faith. The Shaykh Salih al-Fawzan, hafidhahullah ta'ala, he says, Al-Imanu bil-Malaika, belief in the angels. Tu'minu bi-annahum khalqun min khalqillah. He said, we believe that they are a creation from Allah's creation. وَمِن جُنُودِهِ خَلَقَهُمُ اللَّهُ مِنَ النُّورِ. And they are also the soldiers, the armies of Allah Ta'ala. And Allah Ta'ala, He created the angels from light. Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, He created the angels from light. كما جاء في الحديث, as it comes in a hadith, and this hadith has been collected by Muslim, by Imam Muslim rahimahullah ta'ala, and it's from the hadith of our mother Aisha radiyallahu ta'ala anha, when the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he mentioned therein, خُلِقَتْ الْمَلَائِكَةِ مِن نُورٍ. The angels, they were created from light. وَخُلِقَ الْجَانُّ مِن مَارِجٍ مِن نَارٍ. And that the jinn, they were created from a smokeless fire. وَخُلِقَ آدَمَ مِمَّا وُصِفَ لَكُمْ. And Adam was created from that which has been described to you. From that which has been described to you. Again, this hadith has been collected by Imam Muslim in his Sahih, on the authority of our mother Aisha radiyallahu ta'ala anha. وَالْمَلَائِكَةِ, the word malaika, jam'u malak. It is the plural of malak, of angel. The singular is malak. The plural is malaika, angels. Naam. وَالْمَلَكِ huwa ar-rasul. The angels, they are messengers. They are messengers. لأن ملائكة رسل من الله تعالى. Because the angels, they are messengers from Allah Ta'ala إلى عباده, to his slaves, from the human beings. To his slaves, from the human beings. نعم. قال الله تعالى الله يصطفي من الملائكة رسلا ومن الناس. That Allah Ta'ala, He has chosen from the angels messengers, and likewise from mankind messengers. And this ayah, it can be found in Surah Al-Hajj in its verse 75. So again, that's Surah Al-Hajj in its verse 75. You got that? Surah Al-Hajj 75. Khair. So again, if we had to make bullet points for the class, right? We want to start by saying the malaika are what? They're created from light. Right? They were created from light. They are a creation from Allah Ta'ala's creation. They are creatures from Allah Ta'ala's creation. And they're created from light. As it comes in the hadith of our mother Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha, and that which has been collected by Muslim. Because this is the dalil. This is the dalil. Because someone comes and they say, how would you know the malaika are made from light? Because such knowledge is from what? It's from the ghaib, it's from the unseen. Right? So in order to have or to say such a thing, then you will need a proof and evidence. Because none of us knows the unseen, none of us has any information about the unseen. But the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He shares with His messengers what He pleases to share with them from knowledge of the unseen. So Allah ta'ala, He has informed the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam that the angels, they're made from light. So the only way we can know this is from wahi, is from revelation. It's the only way we can know what the angels are created from, is from revelation. So to say such a thing, the angels are made from light, then it will necessitate, we need a proof. What's the proof? The proof is this hadith from Sahih Muslim. This hadith from Sahih Muslim. That verily the angels have been created from light. But yeah. And the angels are messengers. This will be another bullet point we would like to add. But yeah. وَهُمْ أَصْنَافٌ. And the angels, they are various types. مُصَنَّفَةٌ كُلَّ صِنْفٍ لَهُ عَمَلٌ خَاصٌ وَكَلَهُ اللَّهُ تَعَالَى إِلَيْهِ. And that the angels, they have different types. They have different jobs and functions and responsibilities. And each of these types has a function and a responsibility and a job that is particular to them. A job that Allah Ta'ala, He has entrusted them with. A job that Allah has entrusted them with. And then the Shaykh, he brings some examples. So you want to have this down. Jibreel alayhi salatu wassalam, muwakkalun bil wahi. That Jibreel, his job, his responsibility is to bring down the revelation. His responsibility, his job is to bring down the revelation. Okay, so again, this is the responsibility of who, ya jama'ah? Jibreel alayhi salatu wassalam. Wa Mikail alayhi salatu wassalam, muwakkalun bil qatr wal nabat. Okay, so that's Mikail alayhi salatu wassalam. His job is that he's entrusted with the rain and the vegetation. The rain and the vegetation. This is the responsibility that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has placed upon who? Mikail alayhi salatu wassalam. Wa Israfil alayhi salatu wassalam, muwakkalun bin nafkhi fi as-sur. His job, his responsibility is to blow into the horns. This is Israfil. His responsibility, Israfil. Israfil. His responsibility and his job is to blow into the horns, or to blow into the horn. And this will take place when? Judgment Day. And the Qiyam as-Sa'ah, when the hour is established. So this is his job. وَمِنْهُمْ, and from the angels, Malakul Maut is the angel of death. مُوَكَّلٌ بِقَبْضِ الْأَرْوَاحِ. He has been entrusted with the responsibility of taking the souls. And again, this is who? Malakul Maut. The angel of death. He has been entrusted, and his responsibility, his job, is to take the souls. Is to take the souls at the time of death. Yeah, and there come some narrations that bear his name, and the ulama, they differ with regards to the authenticity of these narrations. But what comes that is confirmed is that he refers to as Malakul Maut, the angel of death. وَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ هُوَ مُوَكَّلٌ بِالْأَجِنَّةِ فِي بُطُونِ أُمَّهَاتِ الْأُمَّهَاتِ. And from them, from the angels, and this is important to understand, is that from the angels, we believe in the angels, right? Those of them who we know their names, and those of them who we don't know their names. Those of them who we know their jobs, and those of them who we don't know their jobs. For the ones who we know their names and their jobs and the like, we believe in them specifically. And those of them who we don't know their names and we don't know their jobs, we believe in them in generally. We believe in all the angels. So they're from the angels, those who we know their jobs, we don't know their names. Like these ones that I mentioned now. As the Shaykh, he says, and from them there are those angels who they are entrusted with the fetus in the stomachs of the mothers, of the pregnant mothers. Naam, that there are angels that are entrusted with the fetuses, as it comes in a Hadeeth Siddiq al-Masduq. Naam, this is the dalil for this particular point. Hadeeth Siddiq Masduq has been collected by Al-Bukhari, Muslim, where the Prophet ﷺ, he informs us of the stages of, or he mentions to us from the stages of the creation of the human being. As the Prophet ﷺ, he explained, إِنَّ أَحَدُكُمْ يُجْمَعَ خَلْقُ, that verily one of you, each of you, his khalqu, yani his creation is brought together in the stomach of his mother, fi batni ummihi, in the stomach of his mother, 40 يوما نطفة ثم يكون مضغة مثل ذلك ثم يكون علقة مثل ذلك ثم يكون مضغة مثل ذلك, that for 40 days he's in the belly of his mother as a nutfa, then he becomes an alaq, مثل ذلك meaning for the same period of time, then he becomes like a clot of blood. So the nutfa, this is the mixture of the fluids. Now the mixture of the fluids and the like. Then we are in this state for 40 days. And then we become like a clot of blood. Right? And we're in this state for 40 days. Then we become like a mudgha. This is when the fetus starts to take a meaty-like shape, and the spinal cord of the fetus looks as if it's been bit with these teeth from here to here. You'll see the spinal cord looks like it's been the impressions of teeth, and this is why it's been described as a mudgha. Now this within itself is a proof to the truthfulness of the messengership of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because during that time there was no way that he sallallahu alaihi wasallam could have described the mudgha, the fetus, to such an accurate description, right? When he didn't have anything with technology that he would be allowed to see it, right? But he had something better than all of that, which was that the one who created the nutfa, the one who created the mudgha, had informed the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam how it looks. Naam. Ala kulli hal, after this period of time, so we have what? 40, and then we have 40, then we have 40, which equals what? 120. So after 120 days, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, ثُمَّ يُرْسِلُ إِلَيْهِ الْمَلَكِ, then an angel is sent to the fetus. Now, then the angel is sent to the fetus. فَيُنْفَخُ فِيهِ الرُّوحِ, and the soul is put into the fetus. The soul is put into the fetus. So, from the responsibilities of these angels, who we know their functions, we know their jobs, but we don't know their names, is that it's from their responsibility to place the soul inside of the fetus after 120 days. To place the soul inside the fetus after 120 days. And this is why the ulama, as a side point, they explain that any pregnancy that is lost, any miscarriage that is lost after 120 days, then you have to wash the fetus, and you have to shroud it and make janazah over it, because it's a human being. Prior to the soul being placed inside of the fetus, is not considered a human being, because a human being, it consists of body and soul. So prior to the soul being placed inside of it, it is yet to be a human. That makes sense? So any miscarriage that takes place after that point, right? Then we have to wash the body, shroud it, and pray over it, and the like.
There's multiple angels that do that, you said?
Yes. No. Yeah? So he puts inside the soul. وَيُؤْمَرْ بِأَرْبَعِ كَلِمَاتٍ, and they order with the writing of 4 things. بِكَتْبِ رِزْقِهِ, they write down his provisions, the provisions that that individual will have throughout the span of his life. وَأَجَلِهِ, and it writes down the lifespan that person will have, right? وَعَمِلِهِ, and writes down the actions that person will do. شَقِيٌّ وَشَقِيٌّ أَوْ سَعِيدٌ, and it writes down whether or not the person in the end will be of those who are miserable or those who are happy. Now, of course, all of this, they're writing it down according to the command from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah informs them what to write, and they write. Now, this is important to understand. Ala kulli hal, the hadith, it goes on. It's a tremendous hadith. It's hadith number 4 in Arba'een an-Nawawiyya. Bidhnillahi ta'ala, we will come to this hadith and go through it in a more detail. But in any event, ala kulli hal, this is a proof about these angels who write down these particular things and who put the soul inside of a human being. This is their job, this is their responsibility. Now, ومنهم من هو موكل بحفظ الأعمال بني آدم. And from the angels, you have those angels who their responsibility, they have been in charge with the responsibility of writing down the actions of the sons of Adam and the daughters of Adam as well. They write down our actions. As Allah Ta'ala, He explains, وَإِنَّ عَلَيْكُمْ لَحَافِظِينَ. And verily you have over you angels who safeguard and they protect. They safeguard and they're protecting everything. Kiraman, katibin. They're noble and they're writing. They're noble and they're writing. Now, يَعْلَمُونَ مَا تَفْعَلُونَ. They know what you're doing. Right? Because these are the angels that have been commissioned to go with the human being throughout the course of his life and to write down his deeds, to write down his actions. The Salaf, they used to say, even they will write down the moans of the one who is sick or who is ailing. Every ooh, they write it all down. It's all recorded. Not a single statement comes out except that is written down. Now, and this is their responsibility, to write down the deeds of the children of Adam. فَالْمَلَائِكَ لَهُمْ أَعْمَالٌ مُوَكَّلُونَ بِهَا يَقُومُونَ بِهَا. They have actions in which they have been entrusted with, or jobs and responsibilities that they have been entrusted with, and these jobs and responsibilities in which they carry out to the fullest extent. وَهُمْ جُنْدٌ مِنْ جُنْدِ اللَّهِ. And they are the armies from the armies of Allah. وَهُمْ مِنْ عَالِمِ الْغَيْبِ الَّذِي لَا نَرَاهُمْ وَلَكِنَّنَا نُؤْمِنُ بِوُجُودِهِمْ. These are from the world of the unseen. We don't see them, but we believe in them, in their existence. We believe in them and we believe in their existence. وَنُؤْمِنُ بأعمالهم التي ذكر الله جل وعلا أنهم يقومون بها بأمره سبحانه وتعالى. And we believe in their action, we believe in their jobs, of which Allah Ta'ala has mentioned that He has placed upon them, and in which they fulfill in accordance to the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. لا كمن انحرف في الملائكة. We're not like those who have gone astray with regards to their belief in the angels. فَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ عَادَ بَعْضَهُمْ. And you have from human beings those who actually, they take as enemies some of the angels. كَالْيَهُودِ, like the Jews. يُعَادُونَ Jibreel alayhi salatu wasalam. They take Jibreel alayhi salatu wasalam as an enemy. وَيَقُولُونَ, and they say, the Yahud, they say, Jibreel aduwuna. They say Jibreel, he is our enemy. لو كان الذي نزل على محمد غير جبريل لآمنا به. They say if the angel that came down to Muhammad was another angel, an angel other than Jibreel, then we would have believed in Muhammad. لكن لما كان الذي نزل عليه جبريل فنحن لا نؤمن به. They said, but since the one who comes down upon Muhammad is Jibreel, then we don't believe in him. لأن جبريل عدونا, because Jibreel is our enemy. أعوذ بالله من هذا الكلام.
Why is that? Why did they say that?
The Yahud, they hate Jibreel. The Yahud, they hate Jibreel. Now, because in the past, the angel that would come down that would punish Bani Israel was Jibreel alayhi salatu wasalam. Because of their sins, because of their crimes, because of their wickedness. Now, but they blame who? They blame Jibreel. They should blame themselves. They blame Jibreel. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He refused the Jews. Because when they came to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and they said this, Who is the angel that brings down? Because they asked the Prophet a number of questions to see whether or not he was a prophet, based upon the prophecies that were contained in their books. The Prophet ﷺ, he answered every question correctly, every question, fulfilling the prophecy of which they were foretold. And then the last one they said, and who is the angel that brings down the wahi to you? He said, Jibreel. And that's when they made this statement, claiming how they hate Jibreel. They love Mikael, but they hate Jibreel. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala refuted them. Allah ta'ala sent down an ayah refuting them. An ayah that will be read by the Muslims until Yawm al-Qiyamah, refuting the Yahud for this statement and their hatred of Jibreel and those who are like them. Allah Ta'ala, He says, قُلْ مَا كَانَ عَدُوٌّ لِلْجِبْرِيلِ فَإِنَّهُ نَزَّلَهُ عَلَىٰ قَلْبِكَ بِإِذْنِ اللَّهِ مُصَدِّقًا لِمَا بَيْنَ يَدَيْهِ ومصدقا لما بين يديه وهدى وبشرى للمؤمنين من كان عدوا لله وملائكته والرسل وجبريل وميكال فإن الله عدو للكافرين. Allah Ta'ala, He says, and say to them, قل, say to them, O Muhammad, من كان عدوا للجبريل, that whoever is an enemy of Jibreel, فَإِنَّهُ نَزَّلَهُ, then verily he, Jibreel, he sends down, or he comes down with the revelation. عَلَى قَلْبِكَ بِإِذْنِ اللَّهِ, he brings the revelation down to you, down to your heart, by the permission of Allah. You see? So they're hating Jibreel, whom Allah Ta'ala sent down to the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. He's coming down by the permission of Allah, bringing down that revelation, مُصَدِّقًا لِمَا بَيْنَ يَدَيْهِ, which is a confirmation of that which they have between His hands, وَهُدًى وَبُشْرَى لِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ, and a guidance and a glad tidings for the believers. Now, then Allah Ta'ala, He says, مَا كَانَ عَدُوًّا لِلَّهِ, whoever is an enemy of Allah, whoever is an enemy of Allah, وَمَلَائِكَةٍ, and whoever is an enemy of His angels. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He mentioned the khas ba'd al-'am, because He mentions the malaika, right, which is 'am. And then after the mentioning of the 'am, of the general, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He mentions the specific, the khas, the specific. So Allah ta'ala, He says that whoever is the enemy, مَا كَانَ عَدُوًّا لِلَّهِ وَمَلَائِكَتِهِ وَجِبْرِيلِ وَمِيكَائِيلِ. نعم, وَمِيكَال, عفوا, Jibreel وَمِيكَال, that whoever is the enemy of Allah and of the angels, عفوا, وَالرُّسُلِ, and of His messengers, وَجِبْرِيلِ وَمِيكَائِيلِ, or وَمِيكَال, and he's the enemy of Jibreel and the enemy of Mikael, meaning Mikael. Naam. فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ عَدُوٌّ لِلْكَافِرِينَ, then verily Allah is the enemy of those who disbelieve. And verily Allah is the enemy of those who disbelieve. Naam. So this here is a clear refutation upon those who hate Jibreel. Those who hate Jibreel, then these are who? These are the kuffar, according to Allah Ta'ala's statement, مَنْ كَانَ عَدُوًّا لِلَّهِ وَمَلَائِكَتِهِ وَرُسُلِهِ وَجِبْرِيلِ وَمِيكَالِ فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ عَدُوٌّ لِلْكَافِرِينَ, then verily Allah, He is the enemy of the disbelievers. So whoever is the enemy of Allah and of the angels and of the messengers and of Jibreel وَمِيكَالِ, then verily Allah is the enemy of the disbelievers. Now, you have others from mankind who are like the Yahud in their hatred of Jibreel alayhi salatu wasalam. وَهُمُ الشِّيعَةِ, and they are the Shia. The Shia, أيضا من يعادي جبريل تأثرا باليهود. The Shia, they also take Jibreel as an enemy. They have enmity for Jibreel alayhi salatu wasalam, and this is in their being affected and influenced by the Jews. فيقولوا, so they say, إن الرسالة لعلي لكن جبريل خان وأعطاها لمحمد أعوذ بالله. They say that verily the messengership, the prophethood, it was supposed to go to Ali, but Jibreel alayhi salatu, he betrayed the trust, and instead he gave it to Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And this is why you will find them saying, khana, khana, khana amana. Now, he betrayed the trust, he betrayed the trust, he betrayed the trust, meaning Jibreel alayhi salam. They say he betrayed the trust because he gave the messengership to to Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa was supposed to go to Ali. A'udhu billah min hada kalam. Now, we seek refuge in Allah from this kalam. So they take Jibreel as an enemy. Now,
how do they come up with that? How do they come up with that?
That aqidah, yani, you will find that the Shia, they were started by an individual by the name of Abdullah, who was Yahudi, who was a Jew, and he wanted to destroy Islam from within. So he came up with this ideology centered around the personality of Ali, and he brought the likes of these beliefs. He brought the likes of these beliefs. Now, if you do a comparison between the beliefs of the Shia and the beliefs of the Yahud, you will find so many similarities. So many similarities. Now, this is one of them. This is one of the similarities, that the hatred of Jibreel alayhi salam. And even in the time of Ali, when they came with this, Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he had them executed. Because they came to Ali and they said, Anta huwa, Anta huwa, Anta huwa. They said, you're him, you're him, you're him. So Ali, of course he didn't know what they were talking about. He said, Ana man. He said, and I'm who? He said, Anta alladhi la ilaha ghayru. He said, you're the one who there's no, or nothing that has a right to worship in the truth except for him. Trying to call him Allah. So Ali, he commanded that they be captured. He said, capture these ones. And he dug it. He had a ditch built, had a fire kindled, and he threw them all in it. He threw them all in it. The Sahaba unanimously all agreed that they should be executed. But you have from the Sahaba those who said that you wasn't supposed to kill them or with fire. You wasn't supposed to kill them with fire. According to the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, لا يعذب النار إلا رب النار, that no one punishes with the fire except the Lord of the fire. أو كما قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. So they said this was incorrect, that you executed them by burning them, but you should have nonetheless executed them. They all agreed about that. They all agreed about that. على كل حال.
Another question I was going to ask, because a lot of people, like, even though we know these beliefs of the Shia, a lot of people say that, oh well, they still say the Shahadatain, but you just prove that they don't even say the Shahadatain because they don't even believe that the Prophet ﷺ should have been the Prophet. Right.
You have from them those who, you have different various types of Shia.
Yeah.
But you have from them like the Rafidah, the ulama, they make takfir on the Rafidah. They say Rafidah hum al-kufar. And then you also have from them like the Zaydiyya, like those mostly in Yemen. The ulama, they say they're still within the fold of al-Islam. They Ahl al-Dalal, they are straight, no doubt, but they're still within the fold of al-Islam. But ala kulli hal, like all types of bid'ah, going back to the statement of Imam Ibn Qayyim, bid'ah, its origin is from kufr and is returning back to it. So you can see how these things are very, very, very dangerous. Are very dangerous. Now, Allah musta'an.
Are those the Rafida particularly that say that they should have given the...
This is from their beliefs now.
Of the Rafida?
Now. And then you have, like I said, and then you have from the Shia as well, those who say that Ali is Allah.
A'udhu billah. It's in the book.
Yeah.
Have it in the book.
A'udhu billah. This is clear misguidance. But in any event, from the misguidances, from the many misguidances, is that they also take as an enemy Jibreel alayhi salatu wassalam. But again, just as to reiterate, Allah Ta'ala says in Surah Al-Baqarah, in verse number 97 and 98, قُلْ مَنْ كَانَ عَدُوًّا لِجِبْرِيلَ فَإِنَّهُ نَزَّلَهُ عَلَى قَلْبِكَ بِإِذْنِ اللَّهِ مُصَدِّقًا لِمَا بَيْنَ يَدَيْهِ وَهُدًى وَبُشْرَى لِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ مَنْ كَانَ عَدُوًّا لِلَّهِ وَمَلَائِكَتِهِ وَرُسُلِهِ وَجِبْرِيلَ وَمِيكَالَ فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ عَدُوٌّ لِلْكَافِرِينَ. That verily say to them, O Muhammad, that whoever is the enemy of a Jibreel, then verily it is he, Jibreel, who brings down the revelation upon your heart by the permission of Allah, which is a confirmation of that which is between his hands, and a guidance and a glad tidings to the believers. And whoever is an enemy of Allah and of his angels and of his messengers and of Jibreel wa Mikal, then verily Allah is an enemy of the kuffar, is an enemy of the disbelievers. So again, that's Surah Al-Baqarah, verse 97 and verse 98. وَمِنَ النَّاسِ, and also from mankind who have erroneous beliefs in the malaika, خصوصا, specifically, al-mushrikeen, the polytheists, مَن يَقُولُ, are those who say, al-malaika banatullah. They say that the angels, they are the daughters of Allah. A'udhu billah. A'udhu billah. And you see that this belief has been passed down to other cultures, other people, right? In it, that they will depict the angels as being women. They will depict the angels as being women. You'll find this a lot. وَيَعَذُ بِاللَّهِ. Now, this is not correct. This is not the case. The Shaykh goes on and he says that Allah Ta'ala, He explains with regards to that which these individuals they say. Allah Ta'ala, He says, وَجَعَلُوا الْمَلَائِكَ الَّذِينَ هُمْ عِبَادُ الرَّحْمَنِ إِنَاثًا. And they make the malaika, whom they are the servants of Ar-Rahman, the most beneficent, they make them feminine, or they say that they're feminine, that they're females. وَقَالَ تَعَالَى أَمْ لَهُ الْبَنَاتُ وَلَكُمُ الْبَنُونَ. He says, and he said, is it such that He, Allah, will have nothing but daughters, but you all will have sons? Right? Allah Ta'ala, He also mentions in another part of the Quran about the mushrikeen, because they used to look down upon women. The polytheists, in pre-Islamic times, and even now, still to this day, they look down upon women. So having a daughter was a bad thing for them. A'udhu billah. So based upon this concept, Allah Ta'ala, He refutes them. Allah Ta'ala, He says, وَإِذَا بُشِّرَ أَحَدَهُمْ بِالْأُنْثَى ظَلَّ وَجْهُهُ مُسْوَدًّا وَهُوَ كَظِيمٌ. And if one of them is given the tidings that he will be having a daughter, or that he has just had a daughter, he said, then his face darkens and he's filled with grief. Then Allah Ta'ala ثم قال أَيَجْعَلُونَ لِلَّهِ مَا يَكْرَهُونَ وَتَصِفُ أَلْسِنَتُهُمْ الْكَذِبَ أَنَّ لَهُمُ الْحُسْنَى. He says, are they attributing to Allah that which they hate from themselves, while claiming that they have with them that which is better than what Allah has? You see? Allah utilizes this concept to refute them. Okay, you're saying that girls are a bad thing. And girls are not a bad thing. But for argument's sake, you're saying girls are a bad thing, so you are referring what you call a bad thing to Allah, and claiming for yourself that which is better than what Allah has. To show the foolishness of this type of mentality. Because the reality is that the angels, we have not been informed that they have a gender. We have not been informed that they have a gender. All we know is that when they manifest, when they come down in the form of men. And we know that they have never come down in the form of women. And the proof of this is many. Now, when the angel Jibreel, ﷺ, like in this hadith, when he came to the Prophet ﷺ, he came in the form of a man. But yeah, the angel Jibreel, ﷺ, or the angels, when they come down in the form of men. Like that angel that came down to our mother Maryam, ﷺ. He came as a man, right? And it startled her, because she was pious, she was chaste, she was righteous. It startled her that this strange man would be there. So she sought refuge in Allah from this man. She didn't know it was an angel, because it came in the form of a man, looking like a man. All she knows is a strange man here. So she sought refuge in Allah from this angel. The point is that if the angels were going to come down as a woman, if ever they were going to come down as a woman, this would have been a perfect opportunity in a suitable situation for them to come as a woman, so then she wouldn't have been startled. But she was startled, right? But now, because it came as a man, but then it informs her what it was, that it was an angel coming to give her glad tidings of what? Of Isa ﷺ, that she will become pregnant with Isa ﷺ. And for further, you can go back to Surah Al-Maryam and you see this. But ala kulli hal, the angels, they never came down in the form of females, right? For wisdom, that is with Allah Ta'ala. It never came down in the form of females. But when it came down in the form of men. But the mushrikun, they used to allege that Allah Ta'ala, He has daughters, and these daughters are His angels. وقال الله تعالى أصطفى البنات على البنين ما لكم كيف تحكمون أفلا تذكرون. Allah Ta'ala, He says, and has He chosen daughters over sons? Meaning He Allah. And has He Allah chosen daughters over sons? This is what you're claiming? Allah Ta'ala says, مَا لَكُمْ, what's wrong with you? كَيْفَ تَحْكُمُونَ, how are you judging? With what are you judging? How are you judging? أَفَلَا تَذَكَّرُونَ, would you not think? Would you not use your brains? The Shaykh, he says, فَإِذَا كُنْتُمْ لَا تَرُضَوْنَ الْبَنَاتِ, showing, refuting the understanding of the mushrikun, that if you are polytheists, if you're not pleased with daughters, لأنفسكم, for yourself, وتكرهونهن, and you hate them, كيف تنصبونهن إلى الله جل وعلا, how are you going to connect them to Allah Ta'ala? How are you connecting to Allah something which you yourselves don't like? Does that make any sense? You're saying it's bad for humans, but then you relate it to Allah, to show the philosophy, to show the fallacy of their understandings. The Shaykh, he says, مَا أَنَّ اللَّهَ لَمْ يَتَّخِذَ وَلَدًا, he said, because Allah has not chosen children. Allah doesn't have a son, He doesn't have daughters, period. Allah doesn't have a son, and He doesn't have daughters. Now, so I don't want no one to say, well, Allah don't have daughters and think He has a son. No, Allah don't have no son, and He doesn't have any daughters. Okay? The Shaykh, he says that this was presented to them, min bab ar-rad alayhim, that this argument was presented to them as such from the standpoint of refuting their foolishness, not from the standpoint of justifying or agreeing to their false premise and their false assumptions that girls are bad. Girls are not bad, and this is why when Islam came, Islam gave victory to women's rights. It gave victory to women's rights. They would bury their children. They would bury their female babies in Jahiliyyah, out of fear of what they might do. They would bury, they would kill their babies, their female children. Islam came and prohibited this. Now, and there's so many examples of how Islam gave women rights. Gave them the rights to own land, gave them the rights to have possessions and ownership of their possessions and the like. Gave them true freedom, honored them, put them in a high status that was unprecedented when it came to the culture of the culture of Jahiliyyah. They didn't have such a status in Jahiliyyah. They didn't have such a protection. They didn't have such a high standing and the like. But Islam came, and Islam showed that the woman, she is the twin brother of the man. Whatever is applicable to the man is applicable to the woman, unless the Sharia specifies that there is a difference in that particular case. Now, if there's no specification of a difference in this particular affair, then what's applicable to the man is applicable to the women. You didn't have this in any society during those times. This was a time when you still had the kuffar in Europe debating on whether or not women even had souls. They used to say that they were property. They were just objects, like this mic that could be possessed. They debated whether or not they even had souls. Now, they say yes, they're alive, but maybe they're alive like animals and the like. They used to debate this. A'udhu billah. A'udhu billah. Islam came and gave victory to the rights of the women. So all this women lib and all this stuff like that, this is actually bringing oppression to the women. That which brings victory to women's rights is Islam. It's Islam. Because in Islam, she has a noble and a special and an honored place in Islam. She has rights that are uncompared to any rights that the kuffar women say they have. And the reality of it is that you will find that the kuffar women, they are jealous of the Muslim women. They are jealous of the Muslim women. I've heard more than one kafir lady saying, once hearing about the situation of the Muslim women, I wish I had it like that. That's what they say. I wish I had it like that. They say, subhanallah, if you make money, your money belongs to you, and you don't have to pay any bills, and your husband still has to pay bills, even though you might even make more money than him, he still has to spend his money on you, and you don't have to spend none of your money on him or the household or anything. So what's your money is your money, and he still got to pay for you too. They say, I wish I had it like that. I wish I had it like that. He pampers you, he takes care of you. I don't know how many of the kuffar women say to the Muslim women, you are spoiled. You're spoiled. You're not required to do anything. You do if you want to. If you don't want to, then you don't have to. And you're taken care of and you're pampered. They say you're spoiled. I wish I had it like that. Nah, I wish I had it like that. You see? This is the reality of the situation. So this is a good reminder for our Muslim sisters. Praise Allah Ta'ala. Praise Allah Ta'ala for the ni'mah that Allah Ta'ala has bestowed upon you. Now, ala kulli hal, this is where the likes of these refutations comes from. Is attacking their argument. It's not giving justification to it, but it's attacking it to show the falseness of the likes of these arguments and the like. Now, the reality is that Allah Ta'ala, He doesn't have any children. He doesn't have any children. Allah Ta'ala, He's greater than that. Because they are from mankind those who say that Allah has children. Like the Nasara, like the Christians. يقولون, they say, Al-Masih ibn Maryam ibn Allah, a'udhu billah. They say that Jesus, the Messiah, the son of Maryam, Isa, alayhi salam, he is the son of Allah. A'udhu billah. So they relate and they connect to Allah, they attribute to Allah a son, an ibn, a son. And then you find the mushrikun, they attribute to Allah daughters. The Christians attribute to Allah son. The polytheists, they attribute to Allah daughters. And then you have from the kuffar those who say we are all the children of Allah. They attribute to Allah children. A'udhu billah. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala lam yattakhid sahiba. Allah didn't have, Allah does not have a wife. Do you understand the implications? Allah doesn't have a wife. You don't have a wife, how you have children? You understand? We're not talking from a standpoint of kayfiyya. We're not saying or from a standpoint of what's yumkin. We're not talking from a standpoint of what's possible. No. We're talking about, do you see the filthy implications they launch at Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by saying He has children while knowing He has no wife? You understand? Because if one of us came and we had children, but we didn't have a wife, how did we get that kid? Not from a legal way, not from a good way, not from a wholesome way. Right? You understand? You see the evil, what they're saying about Allah Ta'ala. Allah Ta'ala, subhanallah, amma yasifu. Allah, He is greater than what they attribute to Him, subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah Ta'ala, He did not take a wife, wala walada, and Allah Ta'ala, He does not have any children, He does not have any son, nor does He have daughters. لأن ولد, because a son and or a daughter, a child, when the individual has a child, that child is what? Juz'un min al-walid wa shabihun bil-walid. It is a piece of the father and is like the father. You understand? That when a man has children and that child is going to be a piece of the father and like the father. It's going to be similar to the father. But Allah Jalla wa Ala laysa lahu sharikun wala shabihun wa huwa ghaniyyu subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because Allah, He doesn't have any partners. He doesn't have anything that is similar to Him, and He is rich, He is greater, He is above that, subhanahu wa ta'ala. He is above that, subhanahu wa ta'ala. Naam. فَلَيْسَ بِحَاجَةٍ إِلَى الْأَوْلَادِ. And Allah Ta'ala, He's in no need of children. Allah Ta'ala, He's in no need of children. إِنَّمَا هَذَا فِي الْبَشَرِ. But rather, this is with regard to human beings. We are in need of children. وَالْمَخْلُوقَاتِ. The creation, هِيَ الَّتِي بِحَاجَةٍ إِلَى الْأَوْلَادِ. The creation, they are the ones who are in need of children. Whereas Allah, He's in no need of children. So Allah Ta'ala, He doesn't have any sons, nor does He have any daughters. Ala kulli hal, you will find the mushrikun, they call the angels the daughters of Allah, and this is incorrect, because the angels, they are not, they don't manifest as females, they are not feminine, okay, and they're not little babies, okay, with wings and the like. Now, this is incorrect. This is not permissible for us to have and hold these beliefs, or to propagate these beliefs, or to perpetuate these beliefs and the like, but rather we have to refute the likes of these things by teaching the truth of what Islam has taught us. And also from this standpoint, the ulama, they explain that it is not permissible to change the name of angels to feminine names and to name our daughters with them. So for example, it's not permissible to name a girl, for example, Jibreel, for example, right? Because this is not permissible. Nah, it's not permissible to name a daughter or to take an angel's name and to make it feminine. Because doing such is agreeing with the beliefs of the polytheists that the angels are daughters or are feminine. Nah? So this is another point that we need to mention. That is a benefit, is that we're not allowed to name our daughters with the names of angels and the like. And in general, you'll find the Salaf, it wasn't from their way to pick or to name themselves or their children after angels. The only angel that you'll find that they should be named after was Malik. And Malik, he is responsible and he is the guardian of the hellfire. This was the only angel that the Salaf used to name their children after, was Malik. Nah, it was Malik. That's it. But to take this word Malik, right, and to feminize it, then this is not permissible. This is not permissible, because then we'll be agreeing with the aqidah of the mushrikeen or mushrikeen. Nah. طيب إن شاء الله هذا فنكتفي بهذا القدر، وصلى الله وسلم على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. جزاكم الله خيرا. أسأل الله تعالى أن يوفقني وإياكم لما يحبه ويرضى، وأن يجعلنا من الذين يستمعون قولا فيتبعون أحسنه. آمين.